I spend 50 bucks and I get 10 leads for like $5 a lead, then I'm probably going to spend more money on it. He reached out to one of the top software companies and he got them to make him a proposal of everything it would take step by step to build it. And then he took that proposal and went to Upwork and got it made for like 800 bucks. For most of you guys, come up with one really fucking great idea for an ad and test only one ad. What's up, everybody? Another awesome week, another amazing adventure. You guys are up to some really cool stuff. Kids and I have been probably not feeling our best last few days. We just went to a baseball game last night, and life is good. So I hope you guys are kicking ass, and if you're not kicking ass, I hope you guys are having things in place so that in the future, in the near future, not in the far away, distant future, you will be kicking ass. Couple quick little announcements just before we get rock and rolling. For those of you guys who have been considering the Wolfpack, we have made it basically, I have tried to make this the most valuable possible fucking resource. And I'm just looking at it right now inside the new members area, inside the Wolfpack. We have things you can offer as upsells to your clients that are zero delivery, like software and tools, things that can pay you for years and years and years. I still get affiliate commissions. We have a whole swipe file of that. One of the things I think is our secret sauce is not everybody in your market spends money. Not every dentist buys marketing and services like we offer. And I figured out the best way that I know how to reverse engineer all the buyers. We got some awesome swipe files for generating leads as well as like nurturing those leads, which is a big secret, is like automatically following up with people. I have bad days. My email automation still takes care of nurturing leads. We got awesome stuff for closing through video and chat and text, so you don't actually have to do phone calls like everybody else. We got swipe files for the onboarding and bringing on clients and what to say and when to do it. We also have a whole library of like high value deliverables and swipe files and things you can do to get results for clients, and then everything you would want for hiring, training, and managing. We have ads, we have people, we have all kinds of stuff. So if you guys have been on the fence about that, when it's full, baby. And I decided to open up 10 spots this year. I haven't really promoted it very much this year, but we got a couple of spots left when the rest of those are gone. I want to say 4, but maybe I could be off on that number. I have to double check. But when they're gone, they're gone. So if you guys have been thinking about it, like I'm telling you, this is going to be the best of the best. It just the sheer amount of time and energy and effort it will save you from having to figure this stuff out. I wish this shit was available 10, 15 years ago when I started. So that's that. If you guys are interested in that, check that baby out. And let's get into the good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Frankie Finn proudly brings to you our weekly Q&A. Shenanigans. That's what we're all about over here. Just having fun and shenanigans. Yusuf, good to see you, brother. He says, how much would you spend to test out a new ad on Meta for a new product you've not tried to sell before? New to using Meta ads. This is generally as a ballpark, Yusuf. So, I mean, there's a little bit of variability depending on your market. But as a general number, I shoot for typically $50 to $100 as a test. And what I'm looking for in that is I don't expect to become a millionaire if I spend $100 or $50, but I'm looking for indicators that's going to work. So like if I say, hey, I got a new offer, blah, 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 and I spend $50 and nobody raises their hand and nobody opts in and nobody clicks on it and all those things, then like clearly that offer is a swing and a miss. The flip side of that is if I spend $50 and I get 10 leads for like $5 a lead, then I'm probably going to spend more money on it. So that's usually how I do it. I'm not saying that's the only way, but as a test budget to test an idea, I usually put $50 or $100, and there's usually enough micro indicators. And so what I like to do is we test what's called a hand raiser, which is a summary of your offer to follow. And what that means is then instead of like trying to be overly cute and ninjutsu, if nobody will raise their hand for the summary of the offer, they ain't going to buy it later either, right? So if you say like, hey, I do web design, and you put it out there, and for $50, $100, nobody cares, then don't do more of that. But if you do put it out there and people say, I want your websites, then make more of them, right? So that's Or can you tell me more? So that's what I'm usually looking for. 50 or $100 in a test is usually enough to know if you're on the right track or not. Rahul says, would you work with a client who needs daily/regular updates or constant communication and wants to know the logic behind everything I do in the ad account? I would say in most scenarios, no, but there are exceptions to that. Okay, so is the reason because they just don't trust you, and so therefore they want like overly high maintenance? Probably not. Is it a really high value? I'll tell you the exceptions, okay? So I have a client, my oldest client's been with me since 2009, which has made my business life a lot easier, by the way, having a client that long. We talk almost every day. It's, I don't know, 14, 15 years later, and I just talked to him yesterday, and actually a little bit this morning. And it's not because like I have to check in or anything like that, or like we were both autonomous in how we work. We're actually working together on a little crypto AI project that I think could like dramatically change the world. Just a little hype that a little bit, but I think we're the first people to be able to have like a monetizable AI marketplace, meaning like an eBay where you can go and trade AI art as NFTs. So that's what we're working on behind the scenes, and we're talking daily. So not against daily communication. It depends on the nature of those. But if they're like they don't trust you or they don't trust the process, then probably not. But if I'm updating you just because I like you and I want to talk to you and I want to see how the projects are going and we're checking in on things and we're communicating, that's a different story. So I guess it depends. Our man Cole's here, my tag team partner. So I hope that's helpful, Rahul. It depends a little bit on the scenario. I'd say 9 times out of 10, no, but 1 time out of 10, it may work for you. Alex says, marketing automation. Hey, guys, do you know of any good course on marketing automation? Would also like to hear someone who started an automation agency. Okay, I'm going to tell you, since you're on step 1 of starting an automation agency, what most people think is step 1 is to define what you do. And I think step 1 is to identify a market of people and figure out what those people are stuck on. Maybe you could consider that 2 steps if you want. Pick a niche of people and then figure out what they want. There's probably 2 separate steps. But I'll tell you how important this is. I'll illustrate this with a story. So this was like over 10 years ago. But I had a friend of a friend who made like, I don't know, like $20 million with a software tool in Australia. And this is how he started. He started with a niche of people, okay? And he said, I'm going to go after real estate agents. So he went after real estate agents. He picked the niche of people, and he asked them, like, what is it you hate doing? I'm doing research for something. What do you hate doing? And the answer he got about 80% of the time was inspection reports. I fucking hate making inspection reports. So he created a software that would make making these inspection reports 100 times easier. And he actually, his whole process for creating it was kind of genius, because what he did is he reached out to one of the top software companies, and he got them to make him a proposal of everything it would take step by step to build it. And then he took that proposal and went to Upwork and got it made for like $800. And anyway, he took the final or the finished version and brought it back to the real estate agents that said they hate inspection reports. And there were like 2 or 3 or 4 iterations before they really, really liked it. And then he sold it for like $500 a copy. And because it solved a major life need, like these people just gave him money left and right. He didn't have to promote it. Word of mouth just drove the whole thing. And he eventually sold the software company like a year later. Okay, so that's an example of an automation business done well. Nobody talks about this in our industry. Actually, that's not true. I've heard Jeff Miller mention this, but most agencies sell things that don't need to exist, right? Like, there's 8,000 fucking web designers, and they say, I'm going to be 8,001, and the market doesn't really need it. So it's better to start with a niche of people and find an underserved pocket. I've mentioned this story before, but it makes the point. In my hometown, there's a gazillion auto body shops, and those auto body shops, like, all kind of struggle to get business, and they're started for the wrong reasons because it was an owner's need. I won't go into the whole story of why, but there's a Volkswagen guy who does only Volkswagen auto body, and most of those people won't work on Volkswagens, so he's busier than fuck, okay? Because he has so much business coming in because it fills a real need. So I think step 1 is identify a market and listen to them. Not what most people do, which is I do automations. And so once you pick a niche of people, like what you want to do is ask them some good questions. And I'll tell you, I think there's really 2 kinds of automations that you could easily sell. Automation type 1 is a bring you money kind of automation. So these are like what a lot of the people are doing in our industry, which is like SaaS related things with Go High Level, where they're helping follow up with leads. Like, for example, we have a guy in our mastermind who people text real estate agents and say, can you tell me more about the house? They get like 300 of those kind of leads every day, and they don't have time to follow up with them. So they have an automation sequence that follows up with those people, determines when they're looking to buy. Is it 6 months from now? And is it 6 minutes? Depending on how hot they are, they treat them differently. And the most ready leads now get sent to the real estate agent. The rest of them go into slow simmer. That's done all with automation, right? So that's like an example of a make money kind of automation. The second type of automation that can make you a lot of money is just saving people time and energy for shit they hate, right? So the intelligent question to ask is like, what are you doing in a day right now that you don't want to be doing? Like, what are you doing all day, right? Like, say you chose real estate agents. What are you doing all day that you don't want to be doing? And often it's not make money kind of task. It's administrative, kind of bullshitty, bureaucratic things. If you can bring in software, you'll sell those. But those are the two things you want to look at. You're either going to make them money or you're going to save them a bunch of time. And if you do one of those two things, you pick a market of people and figure out where they either want to make some money or save some time. Your software business, your marketing automation business will be 100 times more successful than if you just define it as the tool. Evans, my man. Frankie says, should I run a survey to find the exact needs of my target audience before creating an offer for the sale? I usually do some form of communication, Evans. We got a video on our YouTube channel, since you asked, called The Unfair Sales Advantage. So if you go to YouTube and just type Beyond Agency Profits, The Unfair Sales Advantage, I think it's one of the best videos I have ever made. And basically, it's all it is this. Is I go to sites like Reddit, and I go to Google and I search reddit.com and I go, what is the hardest part about blank? What is the hardest part about being a dentist? What is the hardest part about being a lawyer? What is the hardest part about whatever? And they'll tell it to you in their own fucking words. Like, it's not hidden. It's out there on the internet. And what you'll find is inevitably you'll come up with ideas for products and services and things you would not have thought of. I'll give you one example of this so you know what I mean. I had a friend who's like a language tutor, okay? So he speaks like 8 different languages, which is pretty fucking incredible to me. And we did this, and one of the questions was, hey, I checked out all the different language courses, but they all suck for different reasons because they teach you like how to order in a restaurant. And he's like, the person said, I just moved to, I think it was Germany. I just moved to Germany, and I have to learn German in order to get a job. And I'm not trying to learn to order in a restaurant and all this stuff. Those would be nice if as a tourist, but I need something that can teach me in like a month or 2 months, because like literally my livelihood depends on me learning this language as fast as humanly possible. I don't care what it costs. I'll pay. Just somebody help me solve this problem, right? And there were a bunch of upvotes, meaning like that wasn't the only person who was in a similar kind of situation where every month they couldn't speak the language, they lost money, right? Like their wife, I presume, was German, they moved there and they need to speak the language. And so he simply created a 30-day, like, I'll teach you everything you need to know to be able to get a job in this foreign language. And it's hardcore and it's intense and it's difficult and it's high ticket. But he wouldn't have known that had he not looked, because a lot of times we think, oh, Rosetta Stone or all these other products and services take care of that. There's always unmet needs in the market. I'll give you one more example, Evans, just so you can wrap your head around this. There's like $100 million agency in my industry, and all they do is they take VAs and they answer the phone. So this is a problem in the legal industry. It's probably a problem in a lot of other industries as well. But lawyers have people to answer their phone Monday to Friday from 9 till 5 o'clock. At 5:01 until the next morning, nobody. On weekends, nobody. And so there's a company that started called Alert Communications, and their service is very simple. We answer your phone from 5:01 till 8:59 the next morning, and they charge only when you use it. So you don't have to like pay to have somebody there 24/7. You just pay every time like somebody actually picks up the phone and calls. So it's like a pay-per-use model. They're like $100 million agency, and they're not even that good, by the way. They don't answer the phone really well. They don't know how to sell. They just jot down the person's info and say someone will call you back in the morning. But they're a $100 million agency because they fulfill like a real market need. So I would always say step one is figure out what your people are stuck on, what problems and challenges, and then build your service out of there. This is how I came up with the $100 bill idea in the first place. Like my mom worked at a dental office for like 23 years. And a lot of people don't know this about dentists, for example, is dentists have chronic neck and back pain. Why? Because they're bent over somebody's mouth all day long. So if you say to a dentist, I'm going to bring you more patients, like, yeah, obviously he wants the money part of it, or she wants the money part of it, but do you think they want more neck and back pain? Do you think they want more dentisting? Do you think like people hate them when they drill in their mouths? Do you think they want more of that? They want less of it. And so the $100 bill is like I'll make you more money doing less of what you're doing. And so if you can only learn those things if you study and listen to your market. And one of the easiest ways to do this, Evans, if you don't have access, like just join a fucking community of whatever your people are in. They're on LinkedIn, they're on Facebook, wherever they are, and just read the conversations for like an hour. And you'll learn more about it than like 99% of marketers do. Like active listening, I think, is one of the most underrated skills in our entire business. Matt says, what's the best performing low-cost GHL component sale program? Sub $100. I don't necessarily know the answer to that, Matt, but I will say the folks that I know who are doing the best with Go High Level programs are essentially doing what I would call the goal line running back. So if you guys never played American football, for those of you guys who are not, from this part of the world, the goal is to bring the ball 100 yards up to the other side of the field. And there's a phenomenon when you get really, really close in those last most contested few yards on the field that mean the difference between 3 points and 7 points, is that often teams will bring in what's called a goal line running back. And the goal line running back's job is usually like he's a big hulking dude, and his job is to smash it over the goal line and to get those final last. And the reason they do it is very simple. Is those last few yards on the field are the most valuable. And I think this is equally true in an agency. So I don't know if you guys saw the interview I did with Mark Diodati. When he first came to me, like one of the things Mark was doing is all his people told him, we need new leads. We need more leads. So he decided to get into Facebook ads. And what he found is there's a gazillion people who sell leads to HVAC. And I said, well, tell me about their process. And what we ultimately figured out is they give out these proposals after someone's considered working with them. So somebody has Googled them, read their website, read their reviews, called them, had the sales guy out to their house. They write a written proposal, they fill it out, they hand them to them, they listen to an hour sales call, and 7 out of 10 of those don't fucking close. Okay? And so what Mark figured out is if you just follow up and nurture and ask questions and help deal with objections with the 7 out of 10 who didn't buy, that you'll get like a deal or two every now and then out of those people, right? Because they're like 5 yards from the end zone, right? Like they're already goal line. So that's what the people I know who do the best with Go High Level, that's what they do is they put in the automations 5 yards from the end zone, which is the opposite of what most businesses do, is they think they need automations with Go High Level 100 yards away. But really the most valuable yards on the field are the last few yards. Because if somebody is giving out 100 proposals a month and only 30 of those land, and you go after the 70 and you get them 3, 4, 5 more proposals, even though that's not a great batting average, those are 3, 4, 5 deals they wouldn't have had otherwise. And it makes absolute sense to pay for software to do that forever and ever till the end of time. So that's what I would say at Go High Level is focus on whatever niche on how you can be the goal line running back. Having said that, I don't necessarily know what the best sub 99 sale is, so I'm sure there's somebody who can answer that question probably better than me. I'm going to ask some of the folks and get you a better answer and give that back to you. Okay, so you're talking templates and stuff on the low end. Even still, I've got a few people that do done-for-you Facebook ads that you can set up with a few buttons on Go High Level. But I don't think the magic is necessarily Go High Level itself. It's the strategy behind where you're putting Go High Level to work. We'll circle back to that in a little bit, Matt, because I'm going to ask some people because I don't necessarily have the best question or answer for you on that. Nikki 2 Angel says, few questions, but first I must preface this by saying it is a debate in the martial arts community whether kids should get black belts or not. I side with not, and people who are legit black belts as well. I mean, if you think about a black belt of jiu-jitsu, some define that as meaning someone who can defend themselves from another black belt. Now, it's pretty obvious to say that as kids, black belt stands no chance against an adult. So the pitch of them getting to the offer an accelerated program to become a higher ranked martial arts is a grind, and there are no legitimate shortcuts. but I want to offer to a clan of ones who I and many others consider as legit as they come, an offer for what I think could be print advertising. Essentially, it is just a call to action poster and giveaway to their existing students to give them to those they think might be interested and offer them a free class on it. What kind of marketing service is this? Print advertising. Also, another question in regard to offering martial arts studios marketing services. Could I hire someone to build and rank the site? If I could get them a client, it would go really well with them. I was wondering if I could build them a website for them that would build a page with videos and blogs and different positions and movements and get them ranking for those keywords, the different type of position and movement. Firstly, as far as your question, number one is your offer, by the way, is not your deliverable. As a general rule, like, people really screw this up. So, like, I use the analogy, if you ran a restaurant, I know you guys don't run restaurants, but I'm just making the analogy so you understand the point. What does a restaurant offer as a service? And the answer is like food/entertainment, like it's a nice evening out. But an offer is not, hey, food/entertainment, that's the service. An offer is like, hey, we got 2-for-1 chicken wings on Tuesday night. You can get 35 hot and spicy wings for $12.99, right? That's an offer, right? And the better you make this offer, and I just read a really awesome book on it by John Spolstra called Selling Ice to Eskimos. It's kind of a fascinating book if you guys have never read it, because he was the marketing director for the New Jersey Nets basketball team in the 1980s. And firstly, people don't like New Jersey, so it's not like it's a touristy area like, yay, I'm going to New Jersey. It's like it's considered a swamp and kind of disgusting area. They were a last place team, and at the time their star player Derek Coleman was considered a giant asshole. So, like, it's not even like they had a likable player. And he got put in charge of marketing that. And one of the things that he focused on doing was, like, among many things, but, like, making the offer more valuable. And so one of the things he would do to tickets is he would create, like, family nights where you get food with it. Or when he was doing corporate nights, he would, like, hire, like, Tony Robbins to come in and be the motivational speaker to the whole stadium. And then they could sell corporate tickets because nobody gave a fuck about seeing the New Jersey Nets. But if he could add in the value of having Tony Robbins, that would be super valuable. So this is my way of saying, like, your offer is not, I'm going to make you a flyer. It's the result of what's going to happen of that flyer. Like, I'm going to get you some black belt students. That's closer to an offer. Especially if you can say, like, I'll get you a black belt student to pay you $5,000 and all I want is, $499 or $1,000 or whatever it is, like, you agree to. That's closer. So don't get caught up in thinking your tools are your offer. Those are different things. Like a restaurant, their tool is food, but they have a gazillion ways they could make offer. Half price appetizer, free dessert, 2-for-1, happy hour. We got a live band playing tonight. We got all you can eat. Like, there's a gazillion ways they can make offers out of that, right? So I want you to think about that. And then the second thing is, can you hire somebody? Yes, it's called white label. For those of you guys who are interested in doing white label, meaning you get the job and somebody else does the fulfillment. So in this case, like, he would get a website and somebody else would actually design the website. We have a list of good vetted fulfillment partners from our man Josh Nelson. So if you guys are interested in that, I'm happy to share that document with you. You do not need to reinvent the wheel. Happy to just send you guys that, like, can make you look good, essentially. Rick says, Frankie Finn, my man, question of you. If you are considering a niche without a $100 service, now what I'm considering, just as an example, like hair salon, they have cut and color ranges anywhere from $300 to $400. If they don't have a $100 offer, what would you pass on that industry? Rick, the whole idea between the $100 bill, like I've given, John, that's badass. I just see close a 40K deal with a loom. Badass, my dude. I love seeing that. I love seeing you guys win with that. So here's the deal with $100 bills. Okay, so I make the point because a $100 bill is a much larger amount of money than a nickel. But all I'm trying to really illustrate with that analogy is that there's a spectrum. So if you just say to somebody, I'm going to bring you more leads, it doesn't actually always sound that good. I'll give you a real example of this so you guys can wrap your head around this, okay? So I was doing this with a friend of mine who's in our group, Larry Weinstein, the brilliant accountant/entrepreneur. And I asked him, by the way, if you want to find out who their nickel clients are, this is a good question to ask. I said, what are the kind of clients that you, like, you like the least, or you could live without if you never had any more of that again? And he, without hesitation, said tax returns. And I said, why? And he said, well, they don't pay a lot of money. There's a gazillion competition. All of it happens like 2 to 3 weeks before tax time. I get a mountain of work dumped on me. I'm sleeping at the office for like 2 to 3 weeks. And then literally when the deadline passes, I'm bored again. And I go home and I got nothing to do. And I said, okay, which kind of clients do you wish you had more of? And he said, businesses that are like local. And I said, why? And he said, well, the businesses like have ongoing needs. I service them all year round. Their taxes are easy to do because I've been helping them all year. And I can almost always like save them 5-10 times whatever they're paying me just through like knowing the loopholes in the system and how to move this to there or register this and all of that. And so this is true in every business. Is there a spectrum? Like in some cases it's extreme. For like a dentist might charge like $99 for a whitening and $40,000 for a set of porcelain teeth, right? So there, it's extreme. But in other niches, like I used to do this in e-commerce. I helped a friend of mine who sold supplements, and she had a supplement online. Her smallest introductory supplement I think was $14.99 on Amazon, so $15 on Amazon, and Amazon keeps most of the money, not her. And then I asked her, what is the most expensive thing you said? And we sell a package of 3 recurring every month of weight loss pills. It's $99 a month and it's recurring. So it's like a $1,200 per year sale. And my simple thing is like, if that's your most expensive thing and that's the most valuable thing and that's your most recurring thing, then let's sell more of that. Okay, so it's not always like the $100 bill is like some $40,000 or $100,000 thing. Sometimes it's just $99 a month for a supplement. But if you think about this, okay, so if I sell one person a $99 supplement and they stay for a year, which was her average, then that's $1,200, not net, not gross, but that's $1,200 for one sale. If I help her sell her lowest end thing, it's $14.99. Right? So how many of those would I have to do to make up one supplement buy? Almost 100, right? It's almost 100 to 1. So the question isn't like, do they have a $40,000 thing? It's like, what is the most valuable type of person? And most times, I'll tell you, like 99 times out of 100, it never occurs to businesses that they can position for this type of work or this type of client or this type of sale on purpose, right? So like even Larry, who's a very fucking smart accountant/entrepreneur, he just lists on his website, I'm an accountant and I'll show you how to save on your taxes. And so people associate accountants with tax returns and call them. And I'm like, no, let's change your messaging. I'm the accountant for small businesses and I'm going to show you how to find $50,000 or $100,000 in savings you don't have to give to Uncle Sam this year. And then if you're 4 businesses, they're going to call you, right? Like, and I remember actually, when I first decided to work with lawyers, this is what I did. I went to LinkedIn. I knew 0 lawyers at the time, by the way. I didn't know any in my personal life. I didn't have any friends that were lawyers. I didn't have any buddy who went to school. My family had never had to have any legal proceedings that we had a lawyer. And I went and updated my profile on LinkedIn to lawyer marketing expert or attorney marketing expert, one or the other. I don't remember which one it is. But lo and behold, that's the kind of people that reach out because my profile is positioned for those kind of people on purpose. So most people don't realize, like, let's say it's a hair salon and colorings make $300-400 and a guy like me gets $10 for a haircut. They don't realize you can be the coloring hairstylist. You can put out content for hairstyling. You can advertise for you're the hairstylist. You can ask for referrals from people who say, I'm the coloring specialist. They don't realize you can do that on purpose. So as long as there's a spectrum of leads, the worst thing you can do is just say, I'll bring you more. Because almost always in every business, the lowest end lead is not actually profitable. So I see this in legal. The lowest end lead you can get in legal is a traffic ticket. Okay? So they basically, a lawyer will spend they charge $100 or $200 and they'll defend you for a traffic ticket. You can't charge that much because the traffic ticket might only be $300 itself. And so you can't charge $20,000 to defend a $300 ticket. And almost always they outsource the work to their paralegal, and the price they pay their paralegal is the same as what they make. So if they make $100, they pay the paralegal $100 and they don't even make any money off of it. That's almost universally true of this nickel concept. So all you really want to do is to find the $100 bill. It doesn't really matter what niche you're in. Is just to say What's your most expensive thing? Like, what do you wish you could sell more of? If you could clone a certain type of client, what would you want to get? And then position for those people on purpose. So the $100 bill is not always going to be a $40,000 thing, but it's going to be more valuable than like where most of the volume is in their industry. So I hope that's helpful in like clearing that up a little bit, my man Rick. I got a little bit of sniffles today, as you guys can hear. Shed a little tear for that notion. Zamir says, anyone successfully driving new leads for the agency via Facebook? Zamir, this is going to be kind of a smart-ass Frankie Finn answer, but anytime you ask a question, is anybody doing blank successfully? The answer is going to be some people yeah and other people no. And usually there's a smaller amount that the answer is yes, and there's a bigger amount where the answer is no. So I think a better question is, what are the people who are having success with Facebook ads doing? And it's almost always like real, just strong execution of fundamentals. They have a niche of people. They have an offer that niche of people want. They're targeting those people and putting that offer in front of them. Like it's not super complicated. I'm not saying it's easy. It's actually the opposite of easy. It's often very difficult and you will question your sanity, but it is simple. It is strong execution of the simple fundamentals, and that's what works on Facebook. But I will say, is where I see people a lot of screw up is I like to put my offer like balls out, like just right out in the world first time and see how people respond. But once I know they're interested in the offer, I actually do a shit ton of nurture with Facebook leads, because it's hard to go from like, I just met you on Facebook to like, here's $5,000 a month. But I like to validate the offer first and see if people are even interested in it. And I usually do that with like 50 or $100. And then once they're interested, then I'll like get those leads onto a list or have them follow me some way and like nurture them over time. That's like my go-to methodology. But yes, there are people driving new leads successfully with Facebook. Although having said that, I'm actually not one of them right now because I'm super duper mega personal account banned, and so we're not running any ads myself. Although I am running a shitload of ads for clients through our VAs right now. Lane says, I've been studying digital marketing for about a month now, and I'm really struggling on what order I should be learning things. What things matter the most early on? My goal is to start my own marketing business on the side, eventually turn it into a full-time thing. I want to focus on social media marketing and want to target small businesses who either don't have a presence on social or are having trouble gaining traction. Is anyone willing to mentor me and just map out for me the learning schedule? And I'm a hard worker and good listener, so I won't need tons of help, just someone to guide me in the right direction. Hope to hear back from you and start building my network. Thanks in advance. Okay, Lane. I actually love questions like these, Lane. I'll tell you why. Because I wish this shit was available to me like 15, 16 years ago. Because I would have did way less stupid shit. Like, for real. Like, the amount of, like, hard lessons that I think, in hindsight, were kind of fucking unnecessary. I experienced a lot of those, okay? And I don't think I'm the only one, but, like, there just wasn't people you could ask. There was nobody I knew, like, crushing an SEO agency that it could ask questions to, like, 20 years ago. But having said that, step one is not what tools to learn. Like everybody, should I learn social media? It's actually to choose a market of people and figure out what, like step one and step two is choose a niche and figure out what those people are stuck on, right? If you do that, what will happen is you'll shift from like, what tools should I learn, to really like actually going in with a blank slate and seeing like what sucks about being a dentist. And I'm doing this now, so like those of you guys who are following along in our 90-day case study, I'm having to learn this all over in the water damage restoration business. So I learned a word the other day. They're interested in category 3 flood damage. I don't know what makes category 1 and what makes category 2, but their $100 bill is I want category 3 flood jobs. So now I'm speaking that language and saying, hey, we can get you category 3 flood jobs, right? That's something that means something to them. I can only find that out by 1, picking a niche of people, in this case, the water damage restoration, and 2, active listening, going in there. And in my case, these discussions weren't happening on their own, so I had to make them happen. I had to go like, what kinds of clients do you wish you had more of? And they said, category 3 flood jobs. Okay, and I listened to that. And then we use that to then create our offers out of there. And usually, if you've listened to your market and you adjust based on the feedback, you'll do way better than like asshole marketers. The opposite example of doing this, by the way, is how many of you guys get pitched, booked appointments in your inbox. We gonna get you a million gazillion booked appointments. You can get so fucking rich, and we gonna fill your calendar. I don't know about you guys. Maybe you guys have a different experience, but I'm so fucking bored by these offers. Like, I don't even like have enough politeness to respond to them because it's just like there's so many of them. They all sound the same, and I don't know. It's just like I don't know who's teaching everybody this fucking booked appointment shit, but not interested in it personally. And I'm sure the first person who sold big booked appointments was like crushing it because they asked their market, like, what do you guys need? And they said, we need more booked appointments. And so they said, let me get you some booked appointments. But the 1,100 copycats who've come since are selling something that the market does not fucking need. There you go. John says tons. And so because they're selling something the market doesn't need, everything that comes after that is uphill. Everything that comes after that is efforting because you like, I literally get pitched it every day. Every fucking day I get pitched it, right? And if you listen to your market, if you like actively listen and go in there, you'll always find underserved pockets. I gave the example earlier of Alert Communications, which is a $100 million agency that provides VAs who answer the phone. This is what they asked lawyers, like, what are you stuck on? And they said, well, we get phone calls out all hours of the day, but I can't afford to have somebody answering the phone 24/7 because, like, at American rates, they make $80,000 a year to answer the phone. I can't afford like 24/7 coverage, and they said no problem. We'll put in place a service for you that will answer all the off hours, and you only have to pay when you answer phone calls, like when they actually get calls. So that's what happens is when you drive your business out of market need, you'll swim with the current. It'll make step one take longer. Because instead of just like going out and pitching people and like trying to get deals, but you'll like everything that'll come after will be easier because you'll actually your market or your business will serve a legitimate need in the marketplace. And a lot of times you got to test this out and feel it out. So I'm doing this now where they told me I want category 3 flood jobs. I'm pretty sure it'll work. So I've said like, hey, let me build you a mini site that will get you category 3 flood jobs. But I don't know with 100% certainty that will work, so I'm going to get some feedback and determine whether or not that's accurate. So, like, when you're starting there, like, pick a niche, really do a deep dive. One of the best things you can do, join a community of your people and just put your ears up. You don't have to type. Just listen for like 3 hours. Just read questions. See where people get stuck. Part of the reason I can come up with endless agency content is because I'm in like 12 other agency groups, more like 30 other agency groups, but I pay attention to maybe 12 of them. And I like on my newsfeed all day long, I have questions. I have people talking about this stuff. Like, it's not hard for me to come up with content because you guys feed it to me, right? And that's the other thing is like you'll speak their language. You'll be more on point. You'll be more connected to their challenges and struggles. And you'll actually like you'll come from a place more of service, of actually being real value to these people, and not like where most people come from, which is questions like, how can I get more blank? How can I get more dentists? How can I get more people to pay me? And I'm not saying those questions are bad. Like, we've all asked them. We've all asked those. They're kind of like self-serving questions. But the more you are focused on your market, the more money you'll make. The more you're focused on you and your own needs as a general rule, you won't understand the underlying thing that drives money and sales because you won't be solving like real problems for people. So I hope that's helpful to you, is like to just make step one easier. Andrew says, people that successfully shifted from general to niche down or changed niches, how do you successfully make that transition when you haven't built authority in the niche you're moving to? I started with churches. I'm a former pastor, but man, it just doesn't make enough. So during the pandemic, I started doing more small business websites and marketing and grew my business a little bit, but I'm wanting to niche down to scale it even more. Only thing is, I don't have any clients in the niches I'm looking, considering to show results, authority, case studies. There's a couple of things you can do, Andrew. So I get a lot of people. This is a thing that I get a lot of is people come to me having built a business to a certain level of success, usually like $10,000 to $30,000 a month, and they're doing well, but they're fucking burnt out, and they realize once they got to that number that the way they designed their business cannot go past that, and so they actually have to kind of scale it back before they can scale it up. In other words, they have to like consolidate what they're doing into less. And almost always the biggest mistake I see in that process is their idea of a niche is actually too big and too broad. And so like an example of that is you just wrote like, I'm dealing with small businesses. That is not a fucking niche. That is actually a collection of niches. Like, E-commerce can be small business. An online coach can be a small business. 47 different kinds of brick and mortar can be small businesses. So the idea of a niche, I think most people don't understand, is firstly it allows you to become an authority and an expert because you can speak their language and it makes your messaging on point. The second reason, and this is actually the bigger reason, is it allows you to enter into what I call the do once, get paid twice deliverable, which is like, so for example, like when we set up motorcycle cases for lawyers, which is like $100 bill, the first lawyer, it was a fuck ton of work, like a lot of work. But the second lawyer, he gets all the same shit as the last guy, right? Like we made a book for lawyer number one. We just change out the picture and change out the state and we'll swap out a few details, but it's the same damn book. Like it was like 99% finished before the lawyer signed up. The landing page, same landing page. The ads, same ads, right? So it allows us to then copy and paste and to be able to reuse our systems and processes at scale. This is like akin to the idea that when McDonald's first got really big, like McDonald's today sells 100 things. So there's a tendency to think the way to get rich is selling 100 things. But actually when McDonald's was first scaling, they only sold one thing, hamburgers. And then they eventually added French fries and a Coke. But in the beginning, it was like just burgers. And if you wanted a burger like personalized, meaning like, can you give me lettuce on it? Can you hold the onions? I'm not a fan. Can I get extra ketchup? They would do it. They would customize your burger. But if you said, can I have a pizza? Do you guys make egg rolls back there? They wouldn't do it for you. And so part of choosing a niche is like narrowing it down to like, we're just going to be known for burgers. And whenever somebody asks for anything that is not a burger, you intentionally refer them out. Then the other piece of that is you have to go where your industry is already, to the conferences, to the events, to the communities, and like integrate yourself and make yourself like a real expert in that space, which can be done very intentionally, by the way. And then when you do that, what you'll find is like the niche scales so much easier because, so almost always the secret to this, by the way, for those of you guys who are in that situation, is people, when they realize they built this flawed system, they start looking for like another niche. They look for greener grass on the other side. Almost always your niche you already have. You just look at the 10, 20 clients you have, and you say, okay, if I could only pick one of these 10, 20 clients, and I had to build my whole business around just one of them, who's my coolest fucking client in this mix? And then you go, oh, okay, if I just had like 30 people like Larry, this thing would be a fucking breeze. Because Larry was easy to get results for. He was cool. I understood the niche a little bit. Well, your job is to clone Larry. It's not to go like reinvent the niche. When you do that, you'll make your life easier. Cole saying when you see throw Frankie up a hand raiser. Yeah, and actually part of the fun of the hand raisers is striking out, I think. Like it's exciting to me just to take at bats. I think if you learn to love the process even when it doesn't work, you'll be more engaged with the process. And I'll tell you what I mean by this, okay? I have friends that crush it in the land business. You want to know how you get really fucking rich in the land business? It's actually really fucking simple. You buy land cheap, okay? And the secret to buying land cheap is the guys who are successful, they get a list of delinquent land, meaning like somebody hasn't paid their back taxes, and then they send out direct mail at scale, and they send out 100 letters a week. Some of them send thousands, but at least 100 letters a week. And they just mail out a bunch of lowball offers. Like if it's $1,000 piece of land, I'll give you $100. A lot of times they offend people, but a lot of times somebody says, yeah, all right, I'm sick of this piece of land. I'll give it to you for $100. So what ends up happening is every time they send 100 letters on average, they get about one deal. Does this mean every time they send 100 letters, they get one deal? Not so. Sometimes they get 4 deals with one mailing. Lots of times they send it out and get nothing. But the secret to success in that business is mail out 100 fucking letters every week, like clockwork, whether or not you get deals or not. And the same is true in the agency business when you mentioned, Cole, the hand raiser, is when you're figuring out your offer, what a lot of people do is they take it at bat, they put out 100 offers and swing and miss, and it's hard not to take that personally. It's hard not to think maybe I'm just not cut out for baseball, and maybe I'm not cut out for land, and they never take a second at bat. But actually what you want to do is like Like, just get into the enjoyment of taking at bats. And what will happen is sometimes you'll hit home runs, sometimes you'll hit singles, sometimes you'll hit doubles, and a lot of fucking times you'll strike out. But if you learn to focus on the inputs, did I send 100 letters this week? Did I put my ads up? Did I put my offers out there? Did I do the outreach I needed to do? Did I reach out to the influencers? Did I do what I needed to do? And you focus on inputs, you'll get caught up less in the which ones win and which ones don't, and it'll just overall work better. So I hope that's helpful. That's a little bit of a side rant, but I think that'll be useful to a few of you guys. Derek says, question for those of you guys who are running Facebook ads for your agency. Do you get better results with long text or shorter text in the ad copy? Do you ever use boosted posts? Never on the boosted post unless it's like a local business and you're boosting stuff from their page. But having said that, this has been a debate in copywriting for as long as I've been in this industry. Long form or short form, which one works? And the answer is fucking both of them. It depends on what you're trying to do and why. There's always they're just tools for different jobs. It's like saying, what's a better golf club? The driver or the putter? And the answer is, it depends what you're trying to do, right? Like, if you need to hit the ball 400 yards and you get out the putter, you're going to look pretty fucking stupid. But if you're just trying to tap it in 4 yards, like the driver's the worst fucking club in the bag. So it's the same kind of idea with long form or short form. I like to test my offers with very short summaries of the offers, and then when they work and they're validated, I get generally longer about them and more detailed with what's involved. But having said that, I usually start with like the shortest version of it and then expand on it based on the questions and the feedback I get. Our man Cole says, which beats mentally masturbating in the corner somewhere, which holds a lot of us up, unfortunately. Cole, I agree, and I always say this to people in our mastermind, and this is true of you as well. This is a bigger problem for smart people than it is for dumbasses. Dumbasses don't try and figure shit out. They don't get all heady about things. And in some ways, dumbasses have it easier in business because they just go out there and they try shit and they don't have all these mental attachments to things like that. But having said that, it's also a blessing to be somebody who's really smart. And the key is you want to use your intelligence wisely. And the way I like to think about that is like a chess master. A chess master acts all the time, but they like strategize a move before they make it. And if ever, by the way, I would say 19 times out of 20, when I see people stuck in mentally masturbating and they can't figure out what the next move is, you just need to go listen to your marketplace. Like, if you're not really fucking sure what your next move is and you're stuck, then you're probably making something about you that's not really about you, and you just need to go fucking listen to your marketplace and read their questions and their comments and ask some questions and see where they get stuck and message a person if you have to and whatever. And just see, like, make it about them, not about you. Same is true even when you're building teams and staff. If you're stuck in building teams and blah, 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 like, you just need to ask your employees, like, where is this breaking down? What are we still hung up on? Like, for example, I just had this with our VA. They're outputting our stuff for this crypto project I mentioned earlier, where I believe we're going to be the first. It's called Full Stock. We're going to be the first people to be able to monetize AI art as NFTs. So like all these people on Midjourney are creating AI art. We've created a marketplace where people can buy and sell it as NFTs. We think it's going to be huge. I don't really know for sure, but we think it'll be huge. And anyway, the reason I was telling you that is like the VA was not posting some stuff to LinkedIn, and I reached out and was like, what's going on? Listen. And the VA said, oh, we're having a problem with the verification. Didn't know that, right? Like, you can jump to the assumption, like, maybe this person's lazy or they're not doing their job, but they're actually waiting on something from me, or they were waiting on some kind of bureaucratic process. So almost always when you're stuck, the solution is listening. And it's counterintuitive for people like us, because when we're heady, it's very easy to make it about you. It's very easy to think, oh, I'm not good enough. Like, it's very easy to go, for a smart person to go into story. And by the way, I am not immune to this. Since I started this 90-day thing, like, you know, that was my like vulnerable share, but it's true. I started thinking like, dude, you have too much going on. You have a real estate business, and you got this fucking crypto project, and blah, blah, blah. And you got fucking new VAs, and you got kids, and you got a fucking birthday party over here. Like, how are you going to build a fucking agency, even if it's just like an hour a day? Like, where the fuck are you going to do an hour a day? You're just going to look like a fucking idiot in front of people. You're this agency guy and you can't figure out the fucking agency. That's all that's going to happen. Like, those thoughts are real. And it's very easy to get stuck in those thoughts. But I know it's not really about me, and so I go back to, like, who are the water damage restoration people? What are they stuck on? That's it, right? Like, it's not about me. Water damage restoration people don't give a fuck about Frankie Finn or anyone else, any one of us. They're interested in their own selfish motive. If you want to help them and serve them, you got to, like, listen, right? So whenever you get stuck, like 19 times out of 20, when you're in your own fucking head, what you need to do is go listen to the people you're trying to help and influence. And you'll be amazed. Like, they'll guide and direct you in simple ways. Like, and I'll give you an example of this. Like, we had a guy in our mastermind who joined, like, I don't know, like 2 years ago. And he said, I want to go into a new industry. And this was like, you know, like lockdowns and stuff were happening. Might have been 2.5 years ago. He said, I want to go into dentists, but I don't know how to break through with dentists. And what we found out is when we listened to him, dentists said their problem was, in simple terms, is I built this, I paid all this money for this beautiful Vogue magazine looking website, but at the end of the day, the chair is empty. Okay? And what they meant by that is there's a hygienist chair, like, you know, you guys have been to the dentist, you've seen the fancy chair, and they're paying that hygienist often like $80,000 to $120,000 a year to work on people's teeth. And if they don't keep them busy with work, then they got to, like, pay $60 an hour in salary plus benefits or whatever it is. I don't know, a lot of money anyway to them. And that person, instead of making them money, is costing them money. But the point being is they say their problem really simply in 4 fucking words. The chair is empty, right? And we as marketers show up to people and be like, my new SEO is going to get you the gazillion more fucking patients review system, XYZ, A to Z, #1, top 5 for all your keywords. And, like, if you listen to the marketplace, almost always the direction they'll give you is way simpler. Way simpler, because you realize, like, you're thinking 20 levels past them, and so you're almost talking too smart for them. And I see this in the legal space. The guys who struggle in the lawyer space, who don't listen to the market and take feedback, they write really heady, wordy lawyer shit. So they'll say, Frankie Finn and Associates is a plaintiff personal injury law firm in La Paz, Mexico, specializing in 30 years of representing accident victims in serious accident cases in the great state of blah, 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 blah. And it's like this wordy novel. And the average person doesn't even know what the fuck that means. And the guys who crush it have, like, really simple stuff. They're like, in a wreck, get a check. In a wreck, get a check, right? Like, they say really, really simple shit. But even though we kind of laugh at how stupid that is, that stupidity comes from the marketplace, because people usually say their problems and they say their symptoms and they say their difficulties easier than we try and, like, feed it back to them as our solution. So almost always, like, if you're stuck, it's because you're talking too much about your solution and not enough about their problems. And the way you get over that is by listening to them about their problems. And just, your job is to not write amazing copy. Once I learned this, it unlocked the game. It's just to pare it back. So I said, like, in the water damage restoration, this is my little breakthrough for the week. But, like, what kind of work do you wish you had more of? Category 3 flood jobs. Category 3 water damage. All right, so now my job is just to say, like, we can help you get Category 3 water damage work. Are you interested in that? Right? So it's just parroting back what they just fucking told you, right? So I say this because, like, Cole, you're not the only one who deals with this. It is a smart people thing. It is not a dumb person thing. And it's easy for us, like, smart people to get stuck in our heads. But almost always you just got to listen to them and parrot back what they told you. Josh says, what's something you wish you knew when you first started your agency? Probably about a dozen things, Josh. Pick a niche. Figure out what they want. Irresistible offer. Systems and processes and teams. Relentless marketing. Over-communicate. Reports that are really simple and easy to read that show them did we make money or not make money. And then above and beyond touches. Those are probably all the things I wish I knew, but I guess, like, that's why I wrote a book about it. Because those things, like, each and of themselves can, like, derail the entire business. Paul says, lead generation on Facebook. Am I better to have one campaign with a massive budget or multiple campaigns on lower budgets? What is your personal opinion? Paul, okay, this is a great fucking question, okay? So I've personally, just so you guys know, I've personally spent like hundreds of thousands of dollars on Facebook ads of my own money, not just like client money, and millions of client money, right? Like over the years, like not all at once. Like this didn't happen in 5 minutes, but over like 7-8 years, I've spent a lot of money on that on this platform. And one of the things I learned is that like most of the conventional wisdom, I don't even know how to say this, but in my opinion, is just fucking wrong, or will make your life very difficult. And conventional wisdom says only scale your winners by a little bit and test this and test that and test. And what ended up happening for me, and what I think happens for a lot of other people, is you end up with a gazillion split tests and nothing's working because everybody tells you everything matters. So you try, like, should I use a green button or a red button? Should I say easy or simple? And the truth is, every little change will modify your results somewhat. But these are like small doors most of it is small doors that swing small levers. And I don't know if you guys saw, but I just had an interview with Perry Marshall, and he was the one, him and another guy named Brad's Ads. And one of the things they said is, Perry said something called forest, trees, leaves. And his idea was really simple, is like leaves are like the little tiny details. If you change a green leaf for a red leaf, it'll make a difference. And then trees were like the medium-sized stuff. And then forest was the big stuff. And for 99 out of 100 people that are listening to this, you do not need to really ever optimize leaves and trees at all. Because most of you guys are like, that's when you start spending like $1,000 a day or more on like e-commerce ads. That's when you need to start testing all the small little ideas. When you've split test like 1,000 big ideas, then you need to start finding more juice with little ideas and optimize those. But most people are trying to squeeze a little bit more juice out of an orange, and what they need to do is get creative. So what I mean by that is very fucking simple. For most of you guys, come up with one really fucking great idea for an ad and test only one ad. Or if you got 2 ideas, maybe 2, at max, 3 great ideas. I never have more than 3 great ideas at once. Maybe you guys do. But I test between 1 to 3 great ideas and put all your fucking chips on one great idea. And then test it as small as you can. I usually like to do $100. For $100, you'll know whether or not you're on the right track or not. But rather than trying to split test like this ad, this copy, this headline, this, that, what'll end up happening is you'll just end up like dicking around in the ad manager, and it won't get you forward. You'll end up with gazillions of mediocre ads. At least that's what it did for me. And so I think it's one of the most freeing things in the world when you realize you don't have to do all the bullshit everybody says you do. Just come up with a really fucking great offer and go all in on that one offer for one test. And if it doesn't work, go back to the drawing board and come up with one other really great offer. And most of you guys would do way better testing one great idea at a time than testing like, I don't know, 80,000 little things that everybody says you have to. And this is so freeing, at least for me, because this is how I do it on every platform. When I get on like YouTube ads, which we're doing a lot of these days, like I just test one great fucking hook and put it out there. And if it doesn't work, then I try something else, right? But like what you want to get away from is all this conventional wisdom that'll just have you dicking around in Ad Manager, never fucking getting anywhere. Like one great fucking ad. Remember that the platform is a tool to reach the person on the other side. If you think like what makes a person click is like a green button or a red button, like you're fucking mistaken, right? It's like actually focusing on something that's extremely valuable. So one of the books I mentioned I'm reading, Selling Ice to Eskimos, one of the things John Spolstra recommended is he got in charge of a Hawaiian baseball league and he had to advertise it, and what he found out is it was like a lot of great talent came up through the league, but nobody cared. Nobody wanted to watch the Hawaiian baseball teams. So he started thinking about like, how could I make this more valuable? And what he figured out after he surveyed his market, that most Hawaiian people in his area at the time like to go for a picnic on the weekend, and they like to eat. So he made the picnic baseball game, all you can eat for $30 for a family of 4 picnic kind of thing. And people weren't coming to the baseball game because they were so excited to see the team. They were coming for the picnic and the food. And I think he changed like variations of that, where he had like a hat and a jersey and different things they tried including. But at the end of the day, the picnic was the thing that won. And that's what you want to think about. Is like, I got one offer, my tickets. How can I make them the most valuable I can possibly make them? And then go all in on it and try it for a little bit. And if it doesn't work, try something else. Try hats and gloves and t-shirts. But if you focus on just doing that, you'll be better than 99% of people, because what most people are doing is just like, I don't know, like a whole bunch of mediocre split tests. And I only know because I did that. I'm not like throwing stones at anybody, but like it's such a waste of time, and I think you guys will be better off without it. So it looks like that's all we got for questions. You guys are awesome for sticking with me a whole fucking hour. As I mentioned in the beginning, for those of you guys who are interested in the mastermind, like we're giving it such a huge facelift now. One of the things I was resistant to is people say to me like, Frankie, I want you to give me step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. And the problem with that is, A, that's a job, that's not entrepreneurship. But the bigger problem with it is the second reason is, then what happens is everybody copies each other and it stops working. So I see this like Ty Lopez created a social media course for like general contractors and roofers, like how to get roofers and sell them like Facebook ads kind of thing. And what ended up happening is he had a cold outreach script, and I assume this script worked in the beginning, and so they went and got some deals. But what happened is Ty sold 60,000 copies of that course, and now everybody uses that exact same script. And I've heard from people in that industry, they all get pitched the same thing, the exact same script, the exact same copy and paste message hundreds of times every day. And so what ends up happening is it doesn't fucking work. So I've resisted this in our mastermind for a lot of years because I don't want you guys to be clones of each other. I want you to understand the principles so you can engineer your own strategies and stuff. Having said that, I've made it so templatized and paint by numbers that like 90% of the work is done, and you just got to put your like little 10% spit and polish on it. And so like as I mentioned, we broke it up into what I call the 8 core competencies, which are upsells you can sell your clients that you don't have to do anything for, building your buyers list so that like you can find everybody in your industry who spends all the money. This is like half the secret right there, is just figuring out who spends all the money. All right, if you want to sell books, sell them to somebody who buys a lot of books. It sounds so obvious, but most of us actually do the opposite in practice, is they sell marketing services or offer marketing services to people who don't fucking spend money on those, and then therefore don't understand why it's so difficult. Generating leads. So you got like swipe files and templates, and then the automations that we're building for being able to nurture your leads and stuff like that are next level. Like if you're getting sales calls already, like one of the things people tell me they struggle with all the time is like, what do I say now that they haven't jumped out of their shoes and given me their credit card? We have whole automations and swipe files for that, all kinds of stuff. We have stuff for closing with Loom videos. We got communication frameworks, onboarding, templates, tools, systems, all that you guys can plug in. High value delivery. Like, you know, I'd say like there's probably 4 things that I think you can do that are super high value and deliverables. We put them all inside the members area. You just got to pick one of the 4 and roll with it. And then when you guys get to the stages of building teams and systems and stuff, we could probably do a whole novel on that. But we have hiring ads and people you can bring in and trial assignments and ways to test them and KPIs and how to report, and all of that is all like organized for you so you can build teams and systems. So if you guys are interested in that, you can either go to beyondagencyprofits.com/wolfpack and watch a little video about it, or if you want to, you can always just shoot me a message and we can talk about that in little chatterooski when you guys get a minute. So hope this was cool. I always appreciate seeing you guys, and much love to you, and awesome seeing some of your wins. I'm excited to hear John's 40K closed deal. That's badass. 40K closed deal, didn't even get on a phone call. Much love and appreciate you guys, and may the force be with you. Hey guys, if you like this video, you'll probably also like our free Facebook group, Beyond Agency Profits, Agency Lifestyle Design. You can get free copies of the book inside here. I look ridiculous. We're doing weekly Q&As, giving answers to all your questions. Some of the best, smartest, brightest people. We've got lots of industry leaders doing 7, 8 figures and beyond. It's a literal who's who of the brightest agency owners that I know, as well as lots of tips on scaling and stuff, books that work. So if you're not already part of it, you're going to want to be part of it. So make sure to click the link. I put it in the description of the video as well as in the pinned top comment below. So just scroll down and you can join, and it's totally free.